evening. On behalf of the Italian Chamber of Commerce of Ontario, our Executive Director, Corrado Paina, welcome to the last cooking class of the Tutti a Tavola in Calabria series. Tonight, Chef Luciano Schifano and food writer Jenny Arena will conclude this series of Calabrese recipes with filet pasta, some meat, and another tasty dessert, San Martini. The Calabrese ingredients our chefs will use in this class were provided by Fortino's, in particular Nduja and the Crotonese cheese. A special thank you goes to Fortino's for its collaboration. Chef Luciano Schifano is connected from his newly opened culinarium studio and event space, the perfect space for a private or corporate event, also available for chefs needing to rent a commercial kitchen. Chef Luciano is a personal chef and food consultant. He appears in different TV cooking shows and is part of several federations in the food industry. He also organizes culinary trips to his home region of Calabria. Back with us tonight is also food writer Jenny Arena. Jenny's appreciation of food started at a very young age. She's the writer behind the Fables and Focaccia blog, and she has participated in numerous ICCO Canada events, providing coverage on her social media channels. Keep following us and keep checking our social media channels for new and exciting initiatives. I would like just to remind you that next week, on November 25th, is the ICCO Canada Pentola d'Oro Under the Stars, a special event to celebrate the Italian and Canadian food and wine industry, with Michelin star chef Christina Bauerman live from Italy, and the opportunity for you to order at a special price a 3-course dinner kit menu for 2 that will be delivered for you directly at home. If you're interested, order by this Friday to make sure you don't miss it. And now it's time to start and enjoy the evening. So enjoy it, and Luciano and Jenny, your time.
Buonasera Tiziana.
Thank you, Tiziana.
Evening.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for the introduction. And yes, unfortunately, this is the last cooking classes of the series, but hopefully we're gonna get back with Jenny. We had a lot of good time, a lot of good fun, and good food. Bring in the flavors and the rest of Calabria for my culinary studio to your kitchens in your devices with the laptop. I'm wishing that everyone is safe and well, and please stay safe and well. As we are here cooking tonight, something very delicious and very, very traditional. I start with a filet with a tomato sauce flavored with Nduja. It's called the filet alla Spilinghese. And Spilinga is the country, is the capital of Nduja, where Nduja has been invented. And today, he's recognized all the worldwide as a perfect spicy condiment representing Calabria in all over the world. So the main ingredients that we have is a red onion, cipolla rossa di Tropea, so the red onion typical from Tropea. We don't have a cipolla from Tropea here in Canada, but we like the red onion for the sweetness and the flavors that's very much close to the one from Tropea. Of course, we're gonna have Nduja from Callipo. Great, when you talk about Callipo, you think about tuna, but Callipo is also very well recognized and known for making a great Nduja in a jar. So it's perfect combination to have a jar that you can keep in the oven, no mess. You just open it up, spread on your bread, or you add it to your sausage. We follow up with a fettina del pastore. La fettina del pastore is the shepherd fettina.
Shepherd's cutlet?
Cutlet, yes, the shepherd cutlet. So we have here a great pork loin, and we're going to talk later about the pork, the king of the Calabrese tables and families, because from the pork you can make everything. And we're going to have a little bit more conversation about that. Very simple. Garlic. We have a pecorino cheese crotonese. Thank you, Fortino, for bringing this great product here available in Ontario. And cicoria, the chicory, dandelion. So this is great green and vegetables to add some of the fibers to our dish. And Jenny, because we are at the season, is going to make it for us a dessert, right, Jenny?
That's right. Yes, I've actually taken a bit of a twist on a very traditional Christmas cookie that's very involved. So I've simplified it and turned the flavors of this cookie into a cake.
That's when I feel cake, I get really, I want a slice of cake. But the San Martini is a really traditional, typical dessert made this year, probably all year round. But when it comes to the holidays, we are very attached to traditions.
Absolutely.
And you say, wow, so the shape, the San Martini that you have there.
So I actually brought a
yeah.
couple to show what they look like, if nobody knows what they look like. And let me just say that as with everything we've been cooking throughout the series, they all have more than one name.
Exactly.
So for my town, Gioiosa Ionica in Reggio Calabria, we refer to it as San Martini.
Yes.
They're also known as San Martini, Chinulli, and more popular. Chinulli. That's right. And then Petrali.
More in Reggio Calabria.
Yes.
More from Petrali is actually, you're right. A lot of people, they call that Petrali, but in my little town, they're a little bit nell'entroterra calabrese, a little bit more inside Calabria, has a very, very old name. It's called the Pittiquaniepeta. Is a something that is linked to the Greek traditions, but the pitta means something that's stuffed. So, and niepeta is actually an herb that is a wild herb that people go and foraging just in the countryside, in the field, called the nepitella in Italian. So in dialect is a niepeta, and that is a flavor. There's nothing close to this flavor that you use today. I'm telling you, the flavor is a little bit about mint and oregano at the same time.
Oh, that's interesting.
But that flavor was used to cover the bad flavors, because back in the days, they were not the knowledge of today. But the feeling of the San Martini was about blood as a thickener. That's with the pork blood and figs. So to flavor these ingredients and cover a little bit the off flavor of the blood, they use this epithet, the Pittiquani epithet.
There you go.
Just I give you some historical addition. Okay, so probably you want to start with the dessert. Because
yes, we'll get started with the dessert, because it seems to always we always like to start with the dessert first instead of last here.
Yes.
So as I mentioned, to make these cookies, it's usually about a 3-day process. The filling consists of dried figs, some raisins, walnuts, vincotto, cocoa powder, and then the flavorings of cinnamon and cloves. It usually sits for about 3 days, and then you work on the dough, which usually takes about a day by the time you make it and let it rest, and then it's a very involved process to fill them, fold them.
Can I interrupt you? You said 3 days?
We let it sit for 3 days.
Time. But back in the days, we used to have a lot of time, right? We don't have time now, but be patient, because good things, they need to wait.
So if you don't want to wait a week to eat this dessert, I have simplified it and created it as a cake, as a bundt cake. So we're going to get started with that. So first we're going to get our wet ingredients, which are eggs. Okay, actually no, we're going to start with eggs and sugar. We're going to put these together quickly. And tonight I decided to just use a little muscle versus the electric mixer, because it's not a very
little bit of workout too.
That's it, right? We've all been eating a little bit too much in quarantine.
Well, and then especially during this month with the COVID-19, and I have to say that we have a lot of time spending at home working from home.
Right?
That would be great to share this recipe with your kids or your family. Do that together with the family as a fun activity.
Absolutely.
Instead to watch a lot of videos on TV, why not cook together, eat together? Because as a chef, I always support sharing recipes, food, table, as a moment for the family to stay a little bit more together.
In fact, I've been making these, I typically make these cookies every Christmas. My daughters have been helping me since they were about 2, and they love the idea of folding the dough and then the sprinkles at the end.
Exactly.
Right?
And especially when you weight the ingredients on the scales, it's good for kids doing mathematics. They're learning how to weigh the ingredients, and this is very important. That's the thing with the Italian families, I have to say. When we were kids, we were too busy studying, and our parents, they never want us to leave our books, our homework to help them. But then we realize that when we get to an age, we don't know how to cook. Is that right, Jenny?
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true.
So that's why it's very important, and I ask everyone to cook with your kids, with your family, as a social activity. But in the meantime, you
They're
pass
learning
on
as
the
well.
traditions and the
Absolutely.
recipe, right?
Absolutely. Okay, so to the eggs and sugar, I added some fig jam. I'm adding milk. And fig jam, because normally it would be the dried figs in the filling, right? So we just have the fig jam. And if somebody is adventurous and wants to make their own fig jam, it's not very hard. And you could essentially put raisins in, and then you're making it more true to the filling if you're making a jam out of the raisins and the figs. Some olive oil.
Extra virgin olive oil. We don't have a canola oil, so that's what we have to say, right? So we have only two fats. We have the pork lard or the extra virgin olive oil.
Exactly.
And it's very healthy. Contains omega-3 and the good acids for your health, for your cholesterol. So I invite everyone to follow the Mediterranean diet, which has been created and invented in Calabria, the city of Nicotera, and the Vico Valencia province.
That's great. And then the last of my wet ingredients is vin cotto. And so for anybody who doesn't know what this is, it's like a cooked down wine syrup that you use the must of the grapes when you're making wine. And then this gets cooked down to like a syrupy consistency. So if you see it as I'm pouring it in, it's like syrupy. So this is always something that when they're making the homemade wine, they always make some of this to use.
It's a kind of molasses, right?
Almost
so
like a
we
molasses.
Want to give an idea the
exactly, right? And in fact, you'll see it's coloring it. Yeah. It's giving it a nice molassesy.
Oh, I remember making vino cotto with my grandfather. That was such a great memory.
And of course, the one fun thing that we love to do with vino cotto as well, when the snow falls, is the sciropetta, right?
Yes, that's actually how they call it, slush. That's that.
It's kind of like in Italian with our calabrese slushy, right?
Exactly. So we are actually we invented. So today you eat slush is because Calabrese were there doing that before everybody else.
Okay, so now my dry ingredients. So I've got flour, and then our cloves and cinnamon, which are going to give it that beautiful aromatic scent, and then some baking powder. And
baking powder, not baking soda, because that's a little bit different.
Yeah, to make it like, because it needs to rise because it's a cake, right?
Yeah. Lievito pane degli angeli. Just to say something Italian.
That's right. Okay, so I've just combined all the herbs in with the flour, and I'm just going to slowly add this to my wet.
And I see it's not hard, so actually you don't need a stand mixer. You can.
No, you know what? You can just mix it by hand. Exactly. That's why I said tonight, we won't make noise with the mixer, and I'll just mix it all by hand.
Yeah, and then sometimes not everybody has a stand mixer, so
it's so true.
I would say
right?
that too.
There we
That's
go.
very good.
And again, just the smell. We've talked about this with Luciano before. Whenever you start using cloves, it's that smell of Christmas. It reminds you of
just
Christmas.
Going to say that's the perfect spices that recall the season. And I hope that everybody is going to have a wonderful and safe holiday season, everyone. So this is important.
There we go.
Okay, so
I did omit this in the recipe, but if you wanted to, again, just to make it more true to the San Martini cookie or the petrali, you could zest an orange in here as well. So use the zest of an orange to just perfume it a little bit more. I did forget to put that in the recipe as an optional, but it's I'm letting you know tonight. It's your little baker's trick.
All flavor typical of Calabria, because we have actually orange in La Piana. The Gioia Tauro, so we have a lot of oranges up there that we have that much that from Sicily and Calabria we ship north to Germany. So it's great how we export our Calabrese oranges.
There you go. So now the last thing, we're going to stir in some walnuts, some chopped walnuts, again because those are typical of the filling of the San Martini. So I'm going to put my walnuts in, and now I'm just going to stir this with with my spatula just to get them all nice and incorporated so that they don't get stuck in the whisk.
That's very easy. And you know that when I was a kid, I was the first one volunteering cleaning the country, right?
That's everybody's favorite job, right? And there you go. It's so that's what the batter looks like. It's a bit of a runny batter. And then what we're gonna do is, I'm just gonna walk over here for 1 second. So I'm actually baking it as little mini bundt cakes this evening, but you can bake it as a large bundt loaf as well. I like the idea of doing them in sort of miniature because then they're nice for gifting as well. You can package them in little boxes and give them out as like little gifts, maybe a nice teacher's gift with a coffee card.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. And I believe in that, especially this year, probably it's more personal having these individual treats for our friends and
well, it's funny because ever since my children started school, every teacher they've ever had always gets a homemade gift from me.
Wow, that's so lucky! Oh my God, okay.
They always get something homemade.
That's nice.
So this batter that I've made will fill about 12 of these little mini buns or one large bundt.
Can we use? I just want to ask some questions. I like to learn, so that's can we use the muffin thing?
Oh, you know what? You probably could make it as little muffins too. Yeah, I've never tried, but that would be nice too. Yeah, like little sambatini cupcakes.
Why not? Let's make it calabrese.
Yeah, why not? I love it. I love it. There we go. So this was and I pre-greased these tins with a little bit of cooking spray ahead of time, or you could do with butter and flour, whatever is your preference. Okay, so I'm just going to fill the last one, and then these will bake in a 350-degree oven. If you're doing the mini buns, it will take about 30 minutes, and if you're doing a large bundt cake, it'll be about 55 minutes. But you know, generally the rule of thumb, when you insert a toothpick and it comes out clean, then you know that the cakes are done. So I'm going to throw it over to Luciano while I go and pop these guys in the oven to get started with the other dishes.
Yes, thank you, Jenny. So we were talking about filet. You see here, I have already some dried filet, but let me talk about this pasta. This pasta can be called filet in the north, so in la Cosenza, but when you come to the south, it can be called maccheroni, it can be also called scilatelle, which I know this as a scilatelle in the Catanzaro province. But quando parli anche di macaroni ai ferri, because la pasta ai ferri is probably one of the oldest type of shape with pasta. There is no eggs involved, that you have the recipe that ICCO actually sent you over with this beautiful and delicious dessert that Jenny is making and the dessert recipe that I'm showing. So please, follow the instructions. If you have any question, you can send an email to ICCO or to me or Jenny. How is made this pasta? So very simple. Is water and flour. So you kneadle, you make a nice dough, you let it rest for a little bit, 20 minutes. And then when you roll it, you make a little piece of sausages. You cut out like a 2 inches piece of dough, and with kneading one of these things that you can actually buy to any store. And I tell you, Jenny, these things that my nonno actually, because he was the handyman in the house, he used to have this piece of wire from an umbrella.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because the umbrella is not like today that a little bit of wind is going to destroy your umbrella. So
those were nice sturdy.
They were sturdy. And they were made with stainless steel, so they were very strong. So when an umbrella, after many years, that's for Italian, because after many years, so they used to get the piece of the inside the umbrella to make the ferri, the wire to make the pasta. So what you do is this: you get some of one of this. You get your cylinder, so your piece of pasta, and you roll it. So you roll it with your hand, and you got this around the pasta. With the hand, you're gonna pull it over, and you get your macaroni. Then to dry them, you put it on a cloth, on a top of cloth. You let it there for a couple of days, and you get your pasta. Especially if you have no idea what to do these days, make some pasta, dry it out. You put in your dispenser, your pantry. You have a pasta for next day, for next week. Even for a month, so it's not gonna go bad. However, to save a little bit of time, I found this available at Fortino's. So thank you for Tino again for bringing this amazing product from Calabria to our table. So how are we going to do the fillets tonight? But the fillet we're going to make with a red onion, tomato sauce, and nduja over here. So I have already some oil that I'm going to heat the oil. And always, please, don't dump the oil and add all the vegetables. No, you have to heat the oil first. It's very important because the oil, when it's hot, it's going to cook. It's going to kind of sear the ingredients. It's going to caramelize the onion. If the oil is not hot, it's going to like steam the vegetables because it won't cook perfectly. And the vegetable also, they will release water right away. So it's always important to heat the oil. And then when you have in your pan, you can see how the more it heats, the more fluid the oil will become. I have here some red onion that I already sliced. So you can see how I sliced like less than a quarter of an inch. You have two options. You can cut the onion in half if you have a big onion, as I did, and I cut these in a quarter slices. Or if you have a smaller onion, I like that to be sliced as a ring because then you can put on top of your pasta.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
That's really
See,
nice.
the oil is nice and hot.
So earlier you mentioned that, you know, if we were in Calabria,
Yes.
we would be using the tropea onions,
Yes.
right? Which are very famous.
See.
In fact, they in 2008 became a DOP product.
See?
They were designated with the DOP designation,
Yes.
which means the protected designation of origin. And the cipolla di tropea is actually often referred to as la regina rossa.
La Regina Rossa.
She's
Yes,
the queen.
red queen. The red queen.
The red queen.
It's you know, and eating onion is actually a very healthy choice because he contains iron, antioxidant, and again, the Mediterranean diet. Calabria has all the ingredients for your long living and your health. So please eat more calabrese. I will be very happy. Your health is going to be more happy.
And the tropea onions are actually very, very sweet.
It's sweet.
Correct?
It doesn't
In
make
fact-
you cry.
In fact,
Right?
they say that you could just eat it like an apple.
Yep.
That it's a very sweet onion.
There is a recipe actually that you make a salad.
Mhm.
It's that sweet like an apple, but you can make a salad. You slice and you just some olive oil, oregano, and just a little bit of vinegar,
Mhm.
and you just let it marinate for 10 minutes, and then that's it. So
In Tropea, there's a gelateria that actually makes
gelato,
gelato di cipolla di Tropea.
we have a gelato, we have also a jam,
Yes.
so it's una confettura.
Mhm.
It's a perfect for to pair with the cheese.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's actually, you know what, I'm making cheese basket for this Christmas here at Culinario, and I have the perfect cipolla onion jam to be paired with the cheese.
There you go.
So
See? So
that's
onions
just you
and
mentioned, yeah.
really, really nice sweet combination. So Luciano, I'm just going to take a quick check for some
Yeah.
questions. So we have someone who's asking, what is nduja? Now we've been talking about it all these weeks. We're happy to talk about it again. It's a pork product. It's a spreadable pork
Yes.
product that traditionally was made from sort of all the lesser valuable parts,
Exactly.
if you will, of the pig that was heavily seasoned for flavor and B for preservation with a lot of chili. So that's what gives it its beautiful color first and foremost, and this nice spiciness. So it adds this really nice, almost like spicy, smoky flavor to whatever you're cooking, right? And as Luciano mentioned, sort of the capital for nduja in Vibo is the town of Spilinga.
Is actually one of the stops during my culinary tours that I do in Calabria, is just in Spilinga, where we visit one of the factories of nduja, where there is a photo on my Instagram. I'm hugging at 150 kilos nduja coming from the ceiling. When I went inside this walk-in cooler and I saw that nduja, and my eyes were just like googling eyes. And, oh my God, I love it.
A dream come true, right?
Oh my
Luciano?
goodness, I love nduja. You have no idea. I have nduja everywhere, and you know.
Yes, I know. Because in fact, over the years, I know that you've made like a nduja flavored gelato,
I
correct?
made a gelato.
Panettone
Just talking about Christmas, yes. I made
flavored
a
with
panettone.
nduja. So yes, we know you love your nduja.
Yes, and actually, talking about panettone for Christmas, you know, they can use their coupon, because with this cooking class, we give out a coupon to be used here at Culinarium. Please check it out on our website, because we're coming out with some panettone and Julia get together in a Baci chocolate ganache.
Ooh,
So
that sounds
I really
interesting.
want to say, but I'm tempted. So that would be the new addition to the Nduja
Amazing.
collection and love of
There we go.
chocolate.
See, another Nduja exclusive from the
Exactly.
channel.
So I add some Nduja here in this onion. Look the color, the beautiful flavor that is coming out. So I'm checking just the fire that I don't want to have that too high. Perfect. What I'm doing is, when the onion is going translucent and nice and soft, I add the Nduja. I wait a couple minutes to let it melt, so all the flavors are infused in the onions. And this is a perfect contrast: the sweetness of the onion and the spiciness and saltiness of the Nduja. So they balance it out each other. And then I'm gonna add the tomato.
That's the best.
Okay. Very good.
So I just have another question. Someone is asking about Nduja. They don't particularly like the flavor of it, and it's true. It is an acquired taste. What would you recommend as a substitution for the Nduja in this recipe?
Well, the thing is, the flavor of Nduja is an excellent flavor, but you don't have to exaggerate with that flavor, because it's a condiment, and as everything in the kitchen, when you overdo, it probably covers other flavors. So you just need a hint of this flavor. So it doesn't have to be overwhelming. That's for sure what I can suggest. To substitute the Nduja, just chili flakes. If I have to say, if you like to have some spiciness, add some chili flakes. But other than that, really, you should eat Nduja.
Okay. Fair enough.
Well, it's a very distinct flavor.
It is.
So
It's very distinct.
as you say, right? All right. So I'm gonna change the pan. I'm gonna actually turn this off. And we are having on this other stove, but let the sauce cook for not too long. We just need the tomato sauce to infuse all the flavors with the onion and Nduja. We're gonna do the fettino del pastore. So what happened with the fettino del pastore? First, we're gonna have some beautiful loin here. Get a knife. We're gonna slice. Of course, you can buy some already sliced meat. Always be very safe when you use the knife. Don't let the kids to use a knife. That is very important. You can slice this meat about like a 1/4 inch meat, even 3/8 if you want to have a little bit more.
So you want a nice thin slice.
Yes. What I suggest, why I buy a pork loin and I want to slice the pork loin, is just because it's not processed. It's more fresh to buy a piece of loin and slice yourself than get already sliced. I know that sometimes we don't have time. We're already rushing, but please find some time and you know, play in the kitchen, because at the end is just a little bit.
And what's nice is the pork is still a fairly inexpensive meat.
It's inexpensive, and you know what? Is leaner than beef. It's, believe it or not, because the beef has a lot of marble when you know, and you see the fat. But when you see the loin, it's very dry, and it actually has a good protein, and there is not bad meat as the beef. It's a true that even in hospital they serve pork more than veal.
Oh wow!
Right, pork and turkeys are the most leaner, high proteins meat served in the hospital. So it's also another good thing to know.
So I know that one of the other ingredients in this dish you're preparing now is the pecorino crotonese.
Is a pecorino crotonese.
That's right, which is another DOP product from Calabria.
From Calabria.
And what makes this one distinctive from its like Tuscan counterpart is it's got a more earthy flavor, almost a fruity finish at the end. And it has a very distinct rind. It's got almost like a basket weave on the rind because of the baskets that
it's actually made
that it's made.
Yes. So what I'm doing here, fettino del pastore. Why del pastore? Because we just use some of the share shepherd ingredients. You know, the shepherds usually they go for the whole day out in the field with their animals, so they are out. Where they eat when they are out, so they might have some wild dandelion, they have a garlic, pecorino cheese, and a piece of meat.
There you go.
Pork. Pork is the king of our cuisines in Calabria. So my grandmother, that is my grandmother recipe too, used to get a piece of garlic, and you can also, okay, you smash a little bit, you flavor the meat, just spreading some garlic on the meat.
I've never seen that. I mean, I've seen it done on crostini to give crostini a garlic flavor, but yeah,
garlic bread,
I've
right?
never seen the meat treated with the garlic like
you
that.
You treat it with the garlic, and you see you soften it up as well because you pass some garlic, you flavor the meats. Okay, and we do all this meat with the garlic. And also we're gonna use this garlic when we fry the same garlic, so it's gonna cook and release more flavor to the oil as well. Okay, so we have this. Now we have the pecorino cheese. So the pecorino cheese is gonna be here. So that was how to salt this meat.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Because you've got your salt factor in there as well.
Exactly. We call it both sides. Okay. Now you can do two things. You can roll it if you want to be a little bit more fancy, but I wouldn't. I would just keep it this way. So you get some pecorino cotonese, you spread it with your hands, and that's how you flavor your meat. And then, you know, with this cheese, it's gonna melt in the oil. It's gonna flavor the oil, and then after we fry this cutlet, this fettina, we're gonna add the dandelion that we already boiled before, and it's gonna flavor it. So with all the oil and the melted cheese in the pan. So think
very nice, and then you'll have like a really nice flavorful oil for the dandelion greens.
Yeah.
So for anybody who's never had dandelion greens or cicoria, how would you describe the flavor?
The flavor can be a little bit bitter like rapini, but sweet as a sweet chard. The texture of a sweet chard, but the bitterness a little bit close to the rapini. Of course, when you boil, then it's gonna get away the bitterness.
Take away some of the bitterness.
And it's very healthy. You know, it's very good for your health because it has a good fibers, good iron.
Yes, iron. I know. For people who suffer from anemia or low iron,
and
eat
also for high blood pressure.
Yes.
Because helps to for all the retained waters and in your body. So I have the water that is boiling for the fillets.
Okay.
So I'm getting ready that fillets too, but we fry this as well.
Fantastic. Okay, while you're frying, I'm going to start working on the glaze for the cake. So again, this is going to incorporate some more of those flavors that you would typically get in the San Martini cookies or petrali. And just a note about these cookies as well is that they have a designation as well. It's something called a PAT designation, which is Prodotti Agroalimentari Tradizionali. So it's a typical product, agro food product. So this is a food designation that these cookies received as well. So it's pretty amazing how all these foods that we've been talking about over the course of these four classes have so many, wonderful designations or like such a rich history. So it's really fantastic. So for my glaze, I'm going to start with some icing sugar, some cocoa powder, some vanilla, a little bit more milk, and then some espresso that we brewed earlier just so that it can cool down. And again, the espresso, the cocoa powder, those would normally be mixed into that fig filling that I was talking about earlier that would go into the cookies. And a lot of, you will notice that in the South, there are a lot of desserts that are typically made with figs. And that's because, again, just going back to the days of the contadino or the farmers, the figs were in abundance. So they would pick the figs in the summer, and then dry them out and use them in the winter. So, you know, you'll often see the figs as a stuffing for cookies, as a flavoring agent for cakes. You know, you make the jams. There's also a version of vin cotto that's made with figs. And then one of my favorite ways to enjoy the dried figs is, you know, you split them open, you fill them with a walnut, and then you dip them in
Le
chocolate.
crocette.
Yes.
That's the crocette that
so
probably
fantastic.
a lot of Calabrese zia known as, or our, you know, grandma, they are making these days, but it's beautiful. It's very easy to do. So they just buy these dried figs available almost a lot of stores. They cut in half, you add the walnut, and then after you add the walnut, you sandwich like together, and then you can dip also in chocolate.
Yeah, so good.
Another thing that I remember my grandma used to do was some orange zest. You put it inside the fig, then the walnut, and then you put in the oven. So the sugar of the fig is going to melt, and the orange is going to infuse the fig as well.
That's
okay, so my oil here is nice and hot. Okay, what I'm going to do is get this patina and add here to the oil. There you go. The oil has to be nice and hot, as you see. And it will take too long to cook. Okay.
So we have a question that came in. Someone's asking for a substitution for the vin cotto in the cake. I would say molasses.
You could be the closest.
Yes, would probably be the closest you can find. Although vin cotto is fairly easy to find. There's typically the specialty Italian grocers is where you'll find it. It is most often, though, I have noticed, product of Puglia. I haven't seen Calabria vin cotto. So any of our importers out there.
Except at my house.
Well, of course, unless you're Luciano and you make your own.
Okay, I'm trying to fill them in. Our pasta is boiling, and I tell you, the smell that is coming from this cookie.
It's incredible.
If you want an extra flavor of garlic, you just add the garlic in there. While the garlic is frying, it's going to release all the flavors to this bread. So this is very, very important. And as I said, the meat is very thin sliced. It won't take too long to cook. As you see, it's nice and brown. I'm trying to find a space for another one. And really, this reminds my grandmother. Today, it's Santa Elisabetta.
Is it?
And her name is Elisabetta.
Oh, buon onomastico to your grandmother.
We're supposed to call it. Which, you know, buon onomastico is a very Italian thing. It's a second birthday for us.
It is. It's second birthday. That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah. And I like to celebrate that my onomastico. So let me move the cutting board.
Probably, I guess, the most recognized onomastico here in North America would be San Giuseppe, right?
Exactly.
St. Joseph, which is typically celebrated March 19th. And everybody knows the zeppole that go along with that holiday. So I love how Italians always have a food associated to whatever we do.
Yeah, I know. I would that bad.
That's, you know what, I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that.
So you may see that some of the cheese is actually browned on the meat. So the meat, he melted, he flavored the meat, and also is I see some of the bottom of the pan. But when I add the cicoria, it's gonna saute inside the oil and infuse with the rest of the cheese.
It smells so good right now. I wish, you know, all this technology that's been created, but still no one has been able to create smell-o-vision.
Exactly. Absolutely. So I just add a pinch of salt, just to be safe, you know, to add salt, but there is already the cheese, the flavor of that. So we are not really, okay. And I think I'm ready to take the meat out and add the cicoria. So,
and like, I mean, this took a matter of minutes. Like, this, how quick is this to even put together on a weeknight for your family, you know? Like, when it comes to, you know, fast food, it doesn't mean having to, like, order takeout. Like, look how quickly you can put a meal together.
And it's fun, too. Now, the oil is still hot. I'm going to add the cicoria that I boiled for 10-15 minutes. So you can find it down below in all our stores. See, I'm gonna just try. The chicoria absorbs all the oil.
Yeah, it's getting a lovely coating of all that flavored oil.
So you fry the chicoria. It's called in dialetto calabrese stranghiata, but stranghiata, so sauteed. But that's my expression. Very old dialect. But yes, that's how we saute our vegetables. And this is dandelion from my backyard.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I can't stay without it. So as you see, all the oil is absorbed. Now what I'm gonna do, using il formaggio dei poveri, the breadcrumb, I wanna just give a touch to absorb the rest of the oil if there is an exceeding oil. Turn this off, and that's it. There you go.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
There you go. Look at that. Lovely dish.
Fettino del pastore. One is done. I'm going to check
Very
the
nice.
pasta.
Okay, while you're checking your pasta, now because of the time that it takes for everything to bake and the fact that the cake also has to cool, I have actually pre-baked some. So here we go. I've got my mini bun cakes here, and see, just to show you, they turn out really cute. They're very lovely, and we're just gonna spoon this aromatic glaze. It's almost like, it is a chocolatey coffee, almost like a mocha flavor. So just drizzle that glaze on. And it's gonna get all nice and absorbed into the cake. If you wanted to add a little bit of liqueur just to even enhance the flavor a bit, some marsala would be lovely in here. Or perhaps even a nice amaro from Calabria, because we've got a pretty award-winning amaro that comes from our region as well, right?
Calabrese are doing a very good job. I have to say that I have to be very proud for all our paisano down in Calabria who are putting together a lot of quality, and a lot of ingredients are now, well, probably because the knowledge, and this younger generation are more demanding as well. They want to deliver them very proud. But yes, we have a great amaros that are internationally recognized. And I would say that probably infuse that with a great amaro that I have in mind.
I think it would work really, really nicely.
You know that I like to think outside the box, and I always tweak new flavors with all the ingredients.
There we go. Okay. And honestly, if you could smell it, it literally does smell the same as the cookies, because it does. It has all the same flavors. It has all the same seasonings. And then if you wanted to make it festive, just like the cookies, you get your little sprinkles, your Christmas colored sprinkles, and sprinkle some on top. There you go. And this would be lovely as like a nice individual dessert. If you make them small like this for Christmas, everybody has their own little mini bundt cake, or, package them up in the little boxes, put a nice Christmas ribbon on them, attach a gift card for some coffee, and it makes a really nice gift. So there's our little ciambelline.
It's beautiful, Jenny. And I can't wait to have one, because you know what, right?
Well, we have
I'm
to
a sweet person, yes. Well, my pasta is
taste.
almost done. And I want to just talk about if all this delicious meal with the meat and the pasta will call for a nice glass of wine.
Of course.
And of course, I want to really open tonight a nice Cirò Rosso tenuta Yuzzolini. That would be great and very well paired with this food, because and then Cirò has a great wine in this area of Calabria, I have to say. Okay, pasta, it's ready.
Okay, and I just have a question for
Yeah.
you while you're straining your pasta. So we have a viewer who's asking that is it typical to put like pepper in a lot of these Calabrese dishes?
Yeah, Calabrese are the Mexicano of Italy, so we eat spicy everywhere.
We love our spice.
Yeah, you like
we
that?
love our spice.
All
That's
right.
true. But of course, if it's not your part of your flavor profile, or
Exactly.
you can't handle the heat, or you just don't like spice, then you can omit it.
I missed one. Okay.
And then, so how much liquor would I add, and what can you substitute vino coco with? In terms of liqueur, like maybe a tablespoonful at the most to the glaze. And again, a substitution for the vin cotto, a good substitution would be molasses. It has sort of that same syrupy thickness and coloring to give you that look of the
Great information. So the filet di scilatelle or macaroni ai ferri are sauteed in the sauce. I always like to finish my pasta inside the sauce. And you know why? Because the pasta absorbs a little bit of the flavor. The starch that is inside the pasta is going to infuse the sauce. It's going to amalgamate it, make the sauce more thick and more flavorful. So I always like to finish my pasta.
That's beautiful.
There you go. We're good. All right, let's plate it.
Oh
my God.
Beautiful. That color, the color that you get from nduja, like nduja, you really, you don't see it with just like tomatoes. It just gives such a punch.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
It's very.
Oh, someone is asking, could you substitute date syrup? Yeah, I suppose that would work.
Say it again.
Date syrup for the vin cotto.
Why not?
Yeah, I think so. Why not? That would work. Yeah, I've never tried that, but I think that would be a nice because you're getting almost that consistency of the vin cotto there as well. So that yeah, why not give it a try?
All right. I'm very excited and sad in the same time because this is the last recipe. It's a pecorino.
Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Yeah,
This is
finish
the
it
last
off with
recipe
a
for the
nice
season.
pecorino
There
crotonese.
you go. Abbiamo filet alla spiringhese, fettina del pastore con cicoria, and i nostri San Martini. This is it's been a great journey.
There we go. Let's line up our full meal here. We've got our primo, secondo, and dolce.
It's been beautiful. It's been amazing. A great journey. Thank you, ICCO, for having us, for join our recipes. I wait and I wish that you're gonna soon come here at Culinarium and have a in-person cooking classes, series, dinner series, wine clubs. So Culinarium is a place that is gonna be called where culinary experiences happen. So that's
Absolutely.
what we want.
Yes, a
We
culinary
want to get together again. We are going to be back for sure. So we just need to be patient. Please use the coupon that you're going to receive right after to buy some of our products. We also do online cooking classes. We also going to launch soon a Christmas gift basket and gift products. So by me, Jenny, and other chefs that collaborate here around Culinarium. But
we've got a lot coming up. We've got a lot coming up to look forward to.
Exactly. Exactly. Do you have other questions?
No, we're just, you know what, we're just getting a lot of comments and everything looks really good. And thank you for sharing.
So, probably I want to try something.
There you go. Here, you know what? I'll give you a knife. You can cut into one of the cakes if you want.
One of the cakes? Well, that would be good. All right. Well, let's do it. Oh my God. And wow, that's very privileged. So for me, I'm going to try that for you if you don't mind. Okay.
Can you smell it? I know you get
nice, cloves and the cinnamon.
That's cinnamon. It's so lovely.
Yeah, this is a perfect dessert for Christmas, and I recommend everyone to follow the recipe.
And you know, again, it's just taking those elements of like, again, the traditional cookie, and taking some of the labor out of it, you know, and experiencing the flavors a little bit, because because that's what the cuisine is all about too, right? Taking the traditions and reinventing them as well.
Exactly, but think about this. I want to just say, he if I want to talk on the Canadian side, he remembers me a little bit of gingerbread.
Yeah.
Right. There is no ginger in there. Okay, but you know, the spiciness is there. If you like gingerbread, you will like this.
Sure.
That's what I want to say, right?
That's
if
a good
you like
analogy.
Gingerbread, you may love the spiciness of this dessert. It's a perfect presentation. I will present that for our Christmas lunch or Christmas dinner, even New Year.
You know?
It's great, and I really love it.
Thank you.
Yes. So again, even the fillets, we can also twist it with some mushrooms if we want to add
that would
something
be lovely, yeah.
in there. This can be also made in advance. If you really want, you can put in the oven and so on and on. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
I see Tiziana over there. Thank you so much, Tiziana.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this series of classes on the specialties of Calabria. It certainly looks delicious. I'm sure it tastes delicious as well. So, well, this is it for the Tutti Tavola cooking classes for now. Thank you very much for following us every week. Thank you to all our followers and everybody who has attended tonight. Thank you very much, Luciano and Jenny, for your insight on the Calabrese traditional recipes you showed us during these weeks. And thank you also for Tinos for providing the Calabrese products and the ingredients of our recipes. And last but not least, thank you to all the ICCO Canada staff, Astrid, Isabella, Richard, Mary, Ilaria, and Marisa. On behalf of our board and ICCO Canada, thank you and buon appetito. Grazie mille a tutti.
Ciao.